Welcome to Daily Devotions for Monday, March 15th, 2021. Today's verse is 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 23. When they hurled their insults at him, he did not retaliate. When he suffered, he made no threats. Instead, he entrusted himself to him who judges justly. This, of course, is referring to Jesus in the period of his arrest and trial and crucifixion. And there are two principles here in his life, and we, of course, in verse 21 are called to follow in his steps as his example is set for us. The first part is, when they hurled insults, when he suffered, he did not retaliate, he made no threats. So he did not extend a response or reactionary effort toward those who harmed him. What makes that significant is, of course, that Jesus could have done that very easily. He had all power. He could have called legions of angels to his side. He could have himself crushed his enemies in a moment. So he had the power to respond and to obliterate his enemies, but he didn't do that. And the second part of this is, instead, he entrusted himself to him who judges justly. So in a sense, Jesus did hold those who opposed him in such a state that he entrusted himself to God who judges justly. In other words, he left it to the Father to work out judgment against those who had opposed him. And he entrusted himself to God because he knew his Father would do what is right. And so he entrusted himself. And in that way, he's our example. He did not seek revenge, and he entrusted himself to God. That's the two-sided coin of our response to unjust suffering. When we are being persecuted, when we are suffering in some way as Christians here or in other parts of the world, our response should be along these lines, as a way of following the example of our Savior. We should not retaliate, not make threats, but entrust ourselves to him who judges justly. That all sounds good, and then we have to think about what it looks like on a practical level, on the ground level. That's where it becomes a little bit more challenging to understand what this looks like. But it is the call that we have. So this is the framework we should live out of. This framework that does not fit our common American, I'd say, in some ways, approach of defending our rights and standing up for ourselves and lashing out at those who hurt us. I don't get mad, I get even, this sort of approach. It is a very different countercultural way to live. So it's something we have to consider is our approach to facing hardship shaped by our culture, or is it shaped by Christ? We want it to be shaped by Jesus. We want it to be reflective of him, as we want all of our lives to be reflective of him. So I hope that's helpful today as you think about these issues, and I hope you have a good day. Thanks for watching.